Hey friends, and welcome back to another pottery template tutorial. Today we are making the Wine Goblet, which is part of the party collection that I'm working on right now. So first step, as always, is to cut out the templates. We're going to start by taping together the two parts of WG1. These pieces were just a little bit too big to fit on an A4 piece of paper. All right, we're going to roll out a 1/2 centimeter slab, and you're going to want to cut out each template once. Okay, we're going to start at the top of the goblet and work our way down. So start with that WG1 piece and cut each end at a 45-degree angle. And you want to slip and score before you attach. Next, we're going to do WG2, that's that Pac-Man shape, and cut the straight edges at a 45-degree angle as well, and overlap them so you have this very shallow cone shape. We're going to attach this cone to the first piece we just assembled, and that's going to form the cup of our goblet. So you want to blend the base into the sides here, just like Bianca is doing. That's going to make that seam pretty much disappear. And don't forget to smooth out the inside as well, as we are going to be drinking out of this cup, and we want to make sure there's no crevices for any dirt to hide in. Okay, we'll move on to the stem, that's WG3, and I want you to cut the straight edges of this piece at a 45-degree angle again. Now, this is quite a tight curve here, so just be careful you're not getting any cracks. If you do get some cracks as you're bending it, just smooth those over with your finger. If it's cracking a lot, you might want to add some water to your piece. Otherwise, just assemble it as you otherwise would, and you can smooth it with a sponge. Lastly, we're going to put together the base, that's WG4, and once again, cut the two straight edges at a 45-degree angle, slip and score to attach. And this is going to make a sort of cone shape with the pointy part cut off. Be careful with this one because it is very easy to let this part just kind of flatten out if your clay is too floppy or if you're pressing it too hard. I find it nicest to keep that kind of curved shape at the bottom, so just be a little bit gentle while you're attaching it. Okay, we're going to connect the stem to the base now. So you want to score the bottom of the stem, so that's the wide part of the stem, and the narrow end of the base. And once again, you can see how careful Bianca's being when she's attaching these two pieces to not flatten out that bottom. And then you'll want to smooth out the inside. This part is not going to be in contact with any food, but of course it's still nice to smooth it out nicely. Okay, so once you have the two individual sides assembled, you'll want to attach them. Now we're going to do this part last very intentionally because it is a very narrow attachment. But if you do it just like Bianca's doing here with the cup facing down and you rest it on, get a really nice scoring and slipping, make sure it's really well attached. And then I do also recommend adding a small coil to reinforce that seam. That also creates a nice little curve as well instead of like a corner piece there. All right, our goblet is assembled. Now it's time to let it dry out. Once it's fully dry, we'll pop it in the kiln for the bisque fire. We're going to be glazing it in our classic white. And then you can see here how Bianca is glazing it. If you want to just hold the bottom, if you tilt it in at an angle, then you get glaze on the inside. You can also use your tongs to dip this in if you have a big enough bucket, but just make sure that you wipe that bottom part of the base so it's not going to stick to your kiln shelf. And back into the kiln it goes. And here is the final result. I love this piece. I especially love Bianca's version with the little drips here. I think it's so pretty. It's such a simple, classic shape, which is a great base for you to do any sort of embellishment. So you can carve, you can stamp, you can add sculptural features. I think that this is a really fun one. As I said, this is part of the party collection that I'm getting very close to wrapping up, so I'm excited to launch that soon. And yeah, that's it for this one. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.